as one with thee. No, he's also one with every other. So today I welcome Vibha Saxena ji. You all know her extremely well. She is an erudite scholar and a wonderful speaker, explains things with great clarity and patience. Today we are doing continuation of the Letters of the Masters of Wisdom, Series 2, letters 46 onwards or 48 onwards. Yes, Vibha ji, please start.
Thank you, Vimalji, and namaste and good evening to all. So, today we will be starting this new part 3 of this book, which is the Letters from Masters of Wisdom Series 2. And we'll be covering the letters 48 to 56 and also perhaps the Appendix A. Now, these letters 48 to 56, they are written by the Mahatmas to S. Ramaswamy. He was a chela of Master M. And all these letters, 48 to 56, they are written by Master M, except for the letter 49. That is from Master KH. But it was approved by Master M. So that is mentioned in the letter. And later, Ram Swami, he wrote a letter to Mavlankar, Damodar Mavlankar, describing, among other things, his visit or his meeting with his master in Sikkim, which happened in October 1882. So, extracts of that letter in which this visit is described, that is what is given in Appendix A. So, please allow me to share my slides and then let's begin with the letters. So, this is the part 3 of this book, in which the letters have been written to the Indian chelas of the masters. Namely, it was Ramswamy, S. Ramaswamy, Mohini M. Chatterjee, and R. Keshav Pillai. So, the letters which we are going to cover, they are addressed to S. Ramaswamy. Now, before the letters which have been written to S. Ramaswamy, there is a foreword which has been written by C. Jinraj Das. And he writes in that the letters which follow, they were received by a very devoted theosophist, the late S. Ramaswamy of Tinniveli. Now, Tinniveli is the present day Tirunelveli. It is a city in the southern part of Tamil Nadu. Ramaswamy, he received his first letter from the Master M on September 28, 1881. And the very next year, that is in 1882, he traveled to Sikkim and there he met his master face to face on October 6th. So his account of that meeting, that will be available in this Appendix A. Jinraj Das writes that he does not know where the original letters are now, and Ramswamy, he passed away in 1893. He was a very devoted person to his masters and to the Theosophical Society. Now, in December 1894, one of his sons, he published these letters which were received by Ramaswamy, and there is a facsimile of one of them. So, those letters were published from that pamphlet. Okay. Now, it seems that his son was not very sympathetic towards the cause of the Theosophical Society. So, he published these letters as if in an attack on the Theosophical Society. And it bore the title Isis Further Unveiled. This is like because HPP had earlier published her first major work, which was Isis Unveiled. So this person is publishing the pamphlet Isis Further Unveiled. Now these letters here, they have been reprinted from that pamphlet which that son had printed. So this is the foreword given by C. Jinraj Das. And then we come to the first letter which was received by Ramaswamy, that is given as letter number 48. Now, In that letter, a footnote has been mentioned. It says that this letter was probably received on September 28, 1881. And at that time, Ramswamy, he saw a materialization of his master at Crow's Nest. The materialization implies that he or the master he appeared to Ramswamy in astral form. Okay, and Crow's Nest, it refers to the residence in Bombay, that is our present day Mumbai, where the founders, Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott, they lived from 1881 to 1882. At that point, they were trying to establish the theosophical activities here in India. And this Crow's Nest, it served as the headquarters before they moved to Adyar, that is in Chennai. So before the headquarters moved to Adyar, they were at Mumbai, that is in Crow's Nest, their residence. Now in this letter, the master writes, "Greetings to my faithful Chela. He is accepted even from now, so that he may consider himself as an accepted Chela of mine. Upasika, meaning HPB, has all the instructions. Let my Chela, Ram be Yogi, follow the instructions he will receive from her. I bless you, son." And it is signed by Master M. Now, this person, Ram Swami, he had a BA degree by qualification, by education. He was having this graduation degree of BA, and he worked for the government as a district registrar of assurances. So that was a post in the British government at that time. Then in 1881, he joined the Theosophical Society. Now, that year itself, the Master M appeared to him astrally, and Ramswamy received this letter that he was an accepted Chela of the Master. So it is quite extraordinary for someone, to so quickly become an accepted Chela of the Master. His given name was Ramswamy, and his Brahmanical caste was Iyer. But you see here, the Master is referring to him as Ramaswamy B or Ram B Yogi. Okay, so that was the secret name which had been given to him during the thread ceremony. These are the names which are dependent on the position of the planets and stars according to the birth chart. So that was his secret name given to him at his thread ceremony, which was Ram Bhadra. And normally, a person is not called by that name, okay? Because uttering the name is a very powerful force. So that name is held in secret. But the Mahatma knows, okay? And it is by that sacred name that he has addressed Ramaswamy in this letter as Ram Bhadra or Ram B. Then, after joining the Theosophical Society in 1881, in a very short span of 12 years, that is in 1893, Ram Swami he passed away. Now we come to letter 49, which was received in September 1882. So this letter is from Mahatma KH to Ram Swami, and it is approved by Mahatma M. He writes that Mahatma KH writes to him that you cannot go to Tibet. I am not the only master there, nor is M. Chauhan. Chauhan, we know it refers to a high adept, perhaps a chief or a lord in the hierarchy of the adepts. So even Master KH and Master M, they were bound by the rules of their ashram and the Chauhan in the hierarchy, okay, that hierarchy of adepts. So that is why he says you cannot just simply walk into Tibet to come and meet us. You must first show that you deserve it by laboring in that direction for 2 or 3 years. Laboring in that direction means sincerely and selflessly working for the cause of the TS, demonstrating determination and courage to move on this path, and of course, to have purity of motives. This is what determines whether the candidate is deserving. Only if he is deserving, then perhaps the master might meet him. So, the master writes, You must be prepared to do anything told to you, anything you are ordered through her, that is through Madame Blavatsky, because she was their direct messenger, and the orders and instructions of the masters, it would come through Madame Blavatsky. So, to be prepared to do anything that the Guru says, that is the true test of trust and devotion to the master. And this is there in our Eastern Guru Shishya Parampara. It requires a willing and unquestioning obedience to the orders of the Guru. So that is what Master is asking Ramswami. And he says, if you have faith in us, others have not. Others don't have faith. But if you have faith in us, are you prepared to do all and everything to prove our existence? Now, why Master is saying that? Because in those early days of the theosophical movement, many people they did not believe that the masters really existed. So if Ramswamy he had faith in the masters, then was he ready to risk it all? Would he do anything to prove their existence? And for the first 2-3 years, this is what he had to demonstrate by working and doing whatever he was ordered by them. Only then he would become deserving of meeting with them, perhaps. So this letter is signed by Master KH and it is approved by M. Now in this letter, it is clearly mentioned Ramswamy he has been forbidden to go to Tibet to meet the master. But however, he insisted. He insisted on going and he actually met his master in Sikkim the next month. Okay, this letter is September 1882. In October, he actually met the master in Sikkim. This is what is given in Appendix A. We now move to the next letter, letter number 50. It is mentioned that this letter was received about September 1882. But there seems to be a discrepancy in what is mentioned in the letter and the date that is given here. But in any case, it is around that period, towards the end of 1882. Now, here this letter is written by Master M. He writes, Ram Swami will don the robes of a regular Vedanti ascetic, even to the top knot if necessary, and send his useless clothes to Bombay. Useless clothes are the ordinary ones which he would normally wear. Now, a Vedanti ascetic, he is generally a Swami or a sannyasi. We know that these people, they wear orange or saffron colored robes. Their head is shaven. But at the top of the head, that is at the crown chakra, they leave a small tuft of hair. It is called the shikha. It is tied in a knot. And it is supposed to protect the body's highest uh, energy center. It also represents their commitment to the spiritual life. So Master said that if required, he should even wear that top knot. And he must travel from town to town along the line to Allahabad, that is present day Prayagraj, and preach Theosophy and Vedantism. So you see very clearly the instruction has been given to preach Theosophy and Vedantism. Actually, the essential teachings of Advait Vedant, that is oneness of existence, divinity of the soul, and unreality of this phenomenal world. So they are not different from Theosophy. The same thing is taught in Advait Vedant. We know that T. Subbarao, he was an Advait Vedantist, and he was also the Chela of Master M. In Madame Blavatsky's writings, especially in the Secret Doctrine, she has incorporated a profound knowledge of all these Vedantic and Hindu texts, including the Upanishads, the Purans, and the Shrutis and Smritis. So, the objective of the founders was to bring out this knowledge of the Eastern scriptures. And in those early days, 1890s, there was a member, Tukaram Tatya. He was a fellow of the Theosophical Society who was very prominent, very uh, in Mumbai in maintaining this Bombay chapter of the Theosophical Society, because in 1882 the headquarters moved to Adyar. So Tukaram Tatya maintained this Bombay chapter, and he established a publishing house there, and he published very major Hindu foundational texts into English in a very inexpensive way, so that they became widely accessible to the people. So that was the kind of emphasis to bring out the wisdom of these Eastern scriptures, and great efforts were being put into it. Even presently, we have many theosophical publications like the Bhagavad Gita, the Vivek Chudamani, and also Yog Sutra of Patanjali and the Upanishads. They are all available for study. So this it was more meaningful to explain the principles of theosophy in terms of Vedanta. Okay, because that is what the Indian people are more familiar with. And Ramswamy, he was instructed to preach Vedanta along with theosophy in all the towns along the route from Bombay to Allahabad. Master says that everyone must know he is my chela and that he has seen me in Sikkim. See, Master is writing in the letter, he has seen me in Sikkim. The meeting in Sikkim occurred in October 1882, but the date of letter is given as September 30. That is what is the discrepancy. So I think the date is incorrect. It should be sometime after the first week of October, because he met the Master in first week of October. So Master wanted everyone to know that Ramaswamy is his chela and he had met the Master in Sikkim. He must let Upasika, meaning Madame Blavatsky, know of his movements constantly and finally join her at Allahabad, as also receive my orders through her. So HPB was to be the coordinating point. His whole aspiration and concern must be directed towards one aim: convince the world of our existence. So this was to be the ultimate aim of Ramaswamy. And it was a huge task because so many people were skeptical about the reality of the Mahatmas. Okay? And he had been given this single pointed aim to convince the world of the existence of the masters. Then he was also supposed to convey a message to Colonel Olcott. In the letter, Master writes, to Olcott Sahib, he will say verbally the following: my master, among other messages, already delivered to whom they concerned, told me, say to my faithful son and worker, that it is referring to Colonel Olcott, that great was his patience, but also great will be the reward. So, in doing the master's work, we should always be patient and perseverant. We should not hanker after rewards, not think that what will be the outcome of the result. Hmm? Not thinking that if we do this work, then perhaps the master will come and meet me, or he will accept me as his chela, okay? Or I will receive some other kind of compensation. So these kind of expectations should not be there. Those things, they will happen in their own time. Master says, tell him that he but too often mistakes Upasika. This he is writing about Colonel Olcott. He too often mistakes Upasika, that is Madame Blavatsky. She is all he thinks her to be and nothing what he suspects her of. Okay. So this is a riddle. He says, let him understand this riddle. She is all he thinks her to be and nothing what he suspects her of. Now, the first thing to note here is that the master knows Olcott's thought, what he thinks about HPB and what he suspects about HPB. So, master is saying that he should understand this riddle. Now, what were his doubts, Colonel Olcott's doubts? Among his many doubts about HPB, he doubted that she deceives him. She passes orders to him in the name of the master, whereas actually they were coming from her. So this was a doubt even in the mind of Colonel Olcott. And that is why master says she has never deceived him. only left him ignorant of many things in accordance with my orders. So many times, even Colonel Olcott was not permitted to know everything about HPB or everything behind what she did or why she did. Okay, that was the master's orders. So everyone knows only as much he is required to know, nothing more than that. Now, further, he mentions, henceforth, in order to facilitate his comprehension, let him know that whenever an order is delivered to him through her, it must be prefixed with the words Chohan Rinpoche. Whenever these words are omitted, the order does not emanate from me but from her. Now, in one of the previous letters, also, we have seen that the letter was signed Chohan Rinpoche. It means the letter is directly coming from Master M and not through his chela or messenger. Further, Master tells, he's now this is the message for Colonel Olcott. Tell him to have faith, hope, and trust. Okay, three important things: faith, hope, and trust. This is actually a very great assurance which is given by the master about the truth of theosophy and the theosophical movement. See, even though one may not be able to see the path ahead, or one may not be able to see immediately the results of his efforts, yet he should persevere in the work by having faith in the teachings, having hope in the future, and by having trust in the master, that is his own higher self. So, master says more anon. That means shortly he will write more. He tells Ramswami to dress himself as a pilgrim, which means to dress himself as a Swami or ascetic, as we have seen from today. And tell your friends you have received direct orders from me. How or in what way, it is no one's business. So Ramaswamy was required to explain, he was not required to explain to others how the communication between him and the masters took place. Although he was given the task to convince the world about the existence of the masters, but how they communicated, he was under no obligation to tell. Now, this is what requires silence, discretion, and courage. Okay, you want to tell the world the masters are real, but you are not going to tell them how that communication is happening. So, people might say that Ramswamy did not actually communicate with the masters. They might continue doubting him, just like they had doubted HPB. They might think he's just making things up. But Ramswamy should maintain silence, discretion, and courage. He knows what he knows. He has already met the master, and he need not prove it to anybody else. And that is what requires great courage, not to respond to the false allegations of others. Okay, to do the bidding of the master. Now, this is in line with another very great occult maxim. It says, to know, dare, will, and keep silent. The occult maxim, what it says, to know, dare, will, and keep silent. So it is the same thing: silence, discretion, and courage. The aspirant, he is urged to gain knowledge. He takes courageous action, but he exercises discretion with an unwavering willpower. And crucially, he keeps silent about the work to protect his efforts. Towards the end, Master says, have my blessings upon your head, my good and faithful son and chela. See the Master's heart, it is full of love for his disciple, just as a parent bears love for his child. And when the Master utters a blessing, it is not mere mechanical words that he is saying, but he actually bestows a real beneficent spiritual force upon the one whom he blesses. The letter is signed by Master M, and then Ramswamy, he did as he was ordered, preaching Theosophy and Vedant along the towns from Allahabad. And he established four Theosophical lodges, and they were founded by him on his way after he met his master in Sikkim. That brings us to the next letter, 51. Now, this letter was probably received in Allahabad in October 1882. Again, it is from Master M to Ramswamy. Master writes, "Greetings, my Chela. At my request, Alcott has explained the theory of Chelaship." So, Alcott, from the early days, he was trying to be the Chela of the master. And on the master's request, he explained what is Chelaship. He had written that theory. This thing about Chelaship, what it means to be a Chela, it has been also elaborately explained in the Mahatma letters to AP Senate. In the first book, that is Barker series, the section 3 is completely about probation and Chelaship. So that section also explains very profoundly about Chelaship. Master says that it is an educational as well as a probationary stage, and the Chela alone can determine whether it shall end in adeptship or failure. So, as a Chela, an aspirant, he learns. What does he learn? He learns about the higher laws of nature. He learns about the occult operations of the universal truths. And by his own efforts, he can undergo a self transformation by degrees, slowly. Okay, because he knows now what are the higher laws. So, consciously, he can bring about that self transformation within his own self. His character and abilities, they are constantly being observed and tested because he's on probation. He's always under the observation of the master. Now, geographical distance doesn't matter. The masters can see the chela occultly. And as he progresses, he can become eligible for higher initiations. Now, if he works in harmony with the universal laws, he can attain a mastery over his own nature. And thus he can become the perfected man, that is the adept. Perfected man is the Siddha Purush, the adept. So this perfection he has to attain by his own efforts, through his own inner transformation. It is clearly said that an adept becomes. Adeptship is not bestowed. An adept becomes. Therefore, the aspirant alone determines whether his chelaship it will culminate in adeptship or whether it will be a failure. Master says that chelas, from a mistaken idea of a system, too often watch and wait for orders, wasting precious time, which should be taken up with personal effort. Okay. Now, in this letter, these statements which are given about chelaship, so several of these statements they occur verbatim in another letter, which was written to C.W. Leadbeater in England on October 31st, 1884. So nearly 2 years later. Okay, and that letter has also been published in this same letter series. But no, sorry, it is being published as letter number 7 in the first series. Okay. So what here Master is saying, the chelas are required to develop a quality of right thinking. They have to develop their spiritual discrimination. Thus, they should demonstrate a self-initiative in their work rather than always waiting for instructions from the masters. And the master has also emphasized that time is precious. Time should not be wasted. See, we are all in this evolutionary cycle, and certain things they need to be accomplished in a certain duration during the evolutionary cycle. And also we have to bear in mind that our physical lifespans they are limited. So better put it to good use by personal effort rather than keeping on waiting that master will instruct us. Now, whatever Master is mentioning here, he says that these remarks are a reply to Ram Swami's questions because he had offered his services to the Master. Okay, he was willing to devote his time for their work. Even he was willing to undertake any expenses and also risk for their cause. So, in a way, Ramswamy was asking for instructions from the masters that he is ready to do everything for their cause, what he should do. So, that is why these remarks were made by the master. And further, master tells him that, well, it is the cause of humanity, of true religion, of education, of enlightenment, and spiritual evaluation, of course. So, the cause for which the masters work, it has been clearly spelled out. It is the cause of humanity, which means the spiritual upliftment to make man free from misery and suffering. Now, in one of the letters to Senate, sorry, in one of the letters to Senate, Master had written that since there is no hope for man, only in man, I would not let one cry whom I could save. So that is the kind of dedication they have for the cause and the spiritual upliftment of humanity. The next cause, Master states, is the cause of true religion. What is true religion? True religion is the wisdom religion. It is the ageless wisdom. It is not a set of dogmas, but it is the perennial truths underlying all the major world religion. And there is no religion higher than truth. So one should work for the cause of true religion. Further, he has mentioned the cause of the Theosophical movement. It is about education, enlightenment, and spiritual elevation of the human race, which means educating people about the reality of their own inner being and the evolutionary cycles, okay, the septenary principles, enlightening them about the laws of nature, namely reincarnation, karma, universal brotherhood, the law of oneness of existence. So, people need to be enlightened about these laws. And lastly, enabling their spiritual elevation by showing them the light on the path. That is the main thing. The practical work which needs to be accomplished by each man for himself, his own spiritual elevation. And the job of the theosophical worker is to show them the light on the path. So, this is the work to be done, Master is telling Ramaswamy. He says that it needs missionaries, devotees, agents, even martyrs, perhaps. But it cannot demand of any man to make himself either. Now, many of you know that Theosophical Society organizes workers' training camps. And these two statements, which are given by the master, they put into full perspective what a theosophical worker should be and what he should do. A theosophical worker, he should carry out the mission of the Theosophical Society. There is a formal mission statement which states that to serve humanity by cultivating an ever deepening understanding and realization of the ageless wisdom, spiritual self transformation, and the unity of all life. So, this is the mission a theosophical worker he should carry out. He should be a missionary. And these missionaries should be devoted and courageous. They should persevere in the face of personal injustice or even self sacrifice, like HPB. She had very poor health, failing health. She was given the choice whether she would like to leave her body, but she chose to continue because she wanted to complete the secret doctrine. Okay, so even to the extent of self sacrifice. These they should be the agents of the master to carry out their message, their instructions, and their work in the world. But as master is saying that no man is compelled to do this work. He is free to choose. Master says if he so chooses, well, well for the world and for himself. For to work for mankind is grand. Its recompense, meaning its reward, it stretches beyond this brief dream of life into other births. So now, you, my chela, choose and grasp your own destiny. So, by choosing to work selflessly for mankind, a person shapes his own future lives. You know, his the effects are not only limited to his current life, but he is shaping his own future lives, his own destiny, his own spiritual progress. For that is what is the law of karma. Ramaswamy has perhaps expressed his desire to serve mankind by healing, okay, healing the sick, just like Colonel Olcott did. He did a lot of healing work. So, Master says to him, you wish to heal the sick? Do so. But remember, your success will be measured by your faith in yourself more than in us. Lose it for a second and failure will follow. So, what does Master mean? That your success depends upon the faith in yourself more than in us. See, it means that a person's ability to heal another, it is not the result of the master bestowing some occult powers on him. Rather, it is the degree of willpower that he can excite in himself and the degree of psychic purity in his motive. Okay. Master says that I will give orders to Maurya Jr., that is Olcott. He's calling Olcott, Colonel Olcott, as Maurya Jr. And he will give orders to him to teach you the mechanical art. That means the mechanical art of healing, that what you have to do in terms of physical actions. Okay. And he tells Ramswamy that have faith in your soul power and you will have success. So, to have faith in your soul power means to have faith in yourself. It is one and the same thing because you are the soul, you are not the body. So, have faith in your soul power. What are your soul powers? Your soul powers, they are the powers of Atma, Buddhi, Manas, the upper triad. Okay, they are the power of spiritual will. It is the power of Atma, the power of spiritual will. Then the power of intuitive knowledge, which is the faculty of buddhi, and the power of higher thought, that is the power of manas. So the spiritual or the higher siddhis also are powers of the soul. Okay, because there are many, many more powers. They are all the spiritual siddhis, the powers of the upper triad. And this is what Master is saying, have faith in your soul powers. You can unfold them. Then Master tells Ramswamy, you wish to take leave for 2 years. Decide after counting the whole cost. And may the light of our Lord Tathagat's memory aid you to decide the best. Lord Tathagat is referring to Lord Buddha. So, Ramswamy, as we know, he was in the government service as a district registrar of assurances. And he expressed his intention of taking 2 years of leave because he wanted to dedicate full time and effort to the Theosophical Society. Now, naturally, for that period, he would have to forego his salary. Hmm? So, Master is advising him to decide wisely in the light of Lord Buddha's teachings. Now, Lord Buddha, what did he teach ordinary people? How they can live their life? That is given in the Eightfold Noble Path. Okay, it guides that Eightfold Noble Path which was taught by Lord Buddha. It guides one in the right understanding, right intention, and right action, among other things. There are 8 limbs. These are three of them. Okay, right understanding, right intention, and right action. So, was he taking the right decision by taking 2 years of leave and devoting all that time to TS? This he could decide if he would do it in this light of the teachings of the Buddha. So you see how Master encourages the Chela to make his own decisions correctly. Master is not ordering him that you do this or you don't do this. He has to take his own decisions. And further, Master adds that before proceeding to south, I would have you go on a mission to the Maharaja of Benares for Senate's business, which Olcott will explain. Now, this is referring to what is this business, which Senate's business? It refers to the affair of the Phoenix newspaper, okay, which was to offset the Pioneer. Senate was here in Allahabad. He was the editor of this Anglo-Indian newspaper called the Pioneer. But he was going to be dismissed from his position in 1883. And then Master KH, he really wanted to have Senate in India because he thought that Senate could be very useful for the cause of the Theosophical movement. So Master KH, he made an effort to engage Mr. Sinnett in organizing another newspaper called the Phoenix. And that newspaper, the new newspaper Phoenix, it was to be started and supported by using Indian capital. That means money collected or donated from the Indian members. So in that regard, these people wanted to meet probably the Maharaja of Banaras. Perhaps he could help. Master further says that you could do great good in many cases and ways, besides endowing the society. Endowing means helping financially. You see, they are trying to raise money for that Phoenix newspaper. And Master is saying that you can do great good in many ways and perhaps also by endowing the society, no doubt, were you free to act. But this idea is meritorious and just, and you have done well to choose it. Which idea? He chose the idea of healing the sick. Okay. So, karma is not blind. What this means that there are many ways in which a person can help, how to work for the Theosophical Society, how to further the cause of the Theosophical movement. Now, had Ramaswamy remained in the employment of the government, then instead of going on leave, then he would continue to get his salary and perhaps he could have helped out monetarily by monetary endowments to the society. But at the same time, Master says the law of karma is not blind. So, law of karma works irrespective of how he chooses to help, whether he will support monetarily or whether he is choosing to heal the sick people. The law of karma will work and he will surely reap the effects accordingly. Master says, I will not say your surmise. Surmise means to suppose something is true without really having evidence or proof of that. Okay, so that is a surmise. I will not say your surmise as to certain prince's relation is not correct. But the secret is not mine to impart. You don't have the confirmation, but I cannot tell you what is that secret. It is not mine to impart. Use it in a discreet way and use your own intuitions. There are two men in T, I think Tiruniveli, who know the secret. Search them out. So you see here, Master has advised two things, that is discretion and intuition. So you think about both of these qualities very carefully. Intuition is a faculty of the higher manas, buddhi manas, faculty of buddhi. So intuition is a faculty of buddhi manas. The better your intuition is developed, is unfolded, the more are the chances that whatever is your assumption or your surmise, it is correct. because intuitively you are more advanced. If not, then it can lead to quite negative consequences because whatever you have assumed, it might be wrong. So, hence, discretion is advised. Now, discretion, it is a faculty of the concrete mind, the lower mind, which is always analyzing and inferring. So, it analyzes the facts and then it decides. And we must work to develop, to hone both of these qualities in ourselves, discretion as well as intuition. And this is the advice which Master gives to Ramswami. Further, he tells, as for our giving you an increase of psychic powers, for example, intuition, okay, that will come in time and cannot come so soon. We have no right to force, and no good can come of forcing nature. She has been already generous to you. My blessings be with you, my son. And it is signed by Master M. So you see that the awakening of powers which are latent in man, it comes about naturally as he progresses spiritually. That means progresses spiritually means he undergoes inner self transformation. His consciousness expands to higher planes of being. We must realize that man is the only being who can stand with his consciousness working or unfolded on all seven planes. Hmm? Right now, we are working only on the physical, astral, and mental plane, but it is possible to unfold our consciousness on all seven planes. And this ability man has to develop by his own self. It cannot be forced, it cannot be bestowed by the masters. Okay? He has to develop this by his own self. And towards the end, Master adds a postscript in this letter. He writes, uh, you will please forward the enclosed to its address and write a note to explain who you are and that you are my chosen chela. Upasika, that is HPB, will tell. So with that, this letter number 51 is completed. This was one of a bit longer letter. And there is this next letter 52, which is very short. I think we can go through it. In this letter, now Ramswamy, he met his master in Sikkim in October 1882. And then he arrived in Bombay with Madame Blavatsky in November 1882, November 25. Then on 1st December, he received a letter from his master, which is probably this letter, and it tells him to return home, which he did after he attended the 7th anniversary meeting. Okay, that like now we have this annual convention. So same thing, the 7th anniversary meeting that was held on December 7th. Now in this letter, master tells him, you are right. It is more meritorious to do one's duty without any forethought of reward than to be bargaining for than to be bargaining for pay for one's deeds. Now, you see, this is also the central tenet of Karma Yoga, which has been explained in Bhagavad Gita. Duty should be done for the sake of duty, without regard for any payback or expectation of any reward. Okay? Same thing, Master has mentioned here. He tells, you are young, my friend, and have long years before you. You have worked unselfishly and with great profit to both your country and the good cause. And we thank you. So, selfless service to the country and service for the good cause of humanity. Both of these are always praiseworthy tasks. It never escapes the notice of the master. They are always aware of it, they know it, and they are ever thankful for it. See the humility that masters have. Master then bids Ramswamy return now home, and whatever trouble may seem to brood over you, remember, I am with you. Hmm? See the words, I am with you. Remember. Now, the Guru is always present with the Chela, not geographically, but at the higher mental level. That is where the consciousness experiences oneness. The chela may not know, he may not experience, but the guru does. And that is how he is always present with him. Therefore, whenever we are faced with any troubling situation, then we should focus on the master. We should meditate on his qualities. We should lay our thoughts besides the thoughts of the master. And we should try to envisage that what the master would have done in such a situation. And then surely we will gain inspiration and the courage to face our troubles. So that is how master helps us by always being with us. With that, we come to end of letter number 52, and we'll close the session here, continue in the next session so that we can have now the Hindi translation.
Thank you, Vibhaji. And yes, Meenakshi ji, please start your translation in Hindi.
यस, सभी को नमस्ते और थैंक यू सिस्टर। आज हम महात्मा लेटर टू रामास्वामी अय्यर ये ले रहे हैं। लेटर नंबर 48, यह पत्र मास्टर एम रामास्वामी को लिखते हैं। वे कहते हैं, अभिवादन मेरे निष्ठावान चेला, आपको अभी से ही स्वीकारा गया है ताकि आप स्वयं को मेरा स्वीकृत शिष्य चेला समझे। उपासिका के पास सभी निर्देश है। मेरे चेला रामभद्र योगी, आप उपासिका से प्राप्त होने वाले निर्देशों का पालन करें। हे पुत्र, मैं तुम्हें आशीर्वाद देता हूँ। लेटर नंबर 49 में मास्टर के एच रामास्वामी को लिखते हैं, जिसे मास्टर एम अप्रूव करते हैं। मास्टर कहते हैं, आप तिब्बत नहीं जा सकते, वहां न तो मैं और न ही एम है, एकमात्र महात्मा है, चौहान है। आपको पहले 2 या 3 साल उस दिशा में मेहनत करके यह दर्शाना होगा कि आप इसके लायक हो। आपको वह सब कुछ करने के लिए तैयार रहना होगा जो आपको बताया जाएगा, वह सब कुछ जो एचपीबी के जरिए आदेश दिया जाए। बाकी लोगों का हम पर विश्वास नहीं, लेकिन यदि आपका हम पर विश्वास है, तब क्या आप हमारे अस्तित्व को साबित करने सब कुछ और कुछ भी करने के लिए तैयार हो? आगे के पत्र में मास्टर एम कहते हैं कि रामास्वामी अय्यर एक सामान्य वेदांती योगी जैसे वस्त्र पहनेंगे, जरूरत पड़ने पर शिखा भी रखेंगे और अपने अनचाहे कपड़े बॉम्बे भेज देंगे। उन्हें इलाहाबाद जाने वाले रास्ते में आने वाले कस्बों में, शहरों में जाकर थियोसॉफी और वेदांत का प्रचार करके यात्रा करनी होगी। सभी को यह पता चलना चाहिए कि आप मेरे शिष्य हैं और उन्होंने मुझे सिक्किम में देखा है। उन्हें अपनी गतिविधियों के बारे उपासिका को हर समय जानकारी देनी होगी और आखिर में उपासिका के साथ शामिल होना होगा और साथ ही उसके जरिए मेरे आदेशों को ग्रहण करना होगा। उनकी पूरी चाहत और लगन एक ही मकसद से प्रेरित होनी चाहिए, दुनिया को हमारे होने का यकीन दिलाना। ओलकट साहब को वे मौखिक रूप से यह कहेंगे कि मेरे सद्गुरु ने बाकी संदेश जिन्हें पहले से ही भेजा गया है, उन संदेशों के साथ आपसे यह कहने के लिए कहा है कि मेरे वफादार पुत्र और कार्यकर्ता, उनका यानी ओलकॉट धीरज, उनका धीरज बहुत अधिक था, लेकिन फल भी उतना ही अधिक होगा। उनसे यह कहे कि वे अक्सर उपासिका को गलत समझते हैं। वह वैसी ही है जैसा कि वे उसे समझते हैं और वह बिल्कुल भी वैसी नहीं है जैसा वे उस पर शक करते हैं। इस पहेली को उन्हें स्वयं समझने दे। उसने उन्हें कभी भी धोखा नहीं दिया, बस मेरे आदेशों के अनुसार उन्हें कई बातों से अनभिज्ञ रखा। ओलकॉट को समझने में आसानी हो, इसीलिए अब से जब भी उपासिका के माध्यम से उन्हें मेरा कोई भी आदेश प्राप्त होता है, तब उसमें पहले चौहान रिम्बोचे यह शब्द जरूर जुड़े हुए होंगे। यह शब्द जब न रहे, तब वह आदेश मेरी ओर से न होकर उपासिका की ओर से होगा। उनसे कहो कि वे श्रद्धा, उम्मीद और विश्वास रखें। और आगे और लिखूंगा, ऐसा मास्टर कहते हैं। वे कहते हैं कि आज से आप एक योगी की तरह कपड़े पहने और अपने साथियों से, मित्रों से कहे कि आपको प्रत्यक्ष मेरी ओर से आदेश मिले हैं। वे कैसे या किस तरह मिले, इससे किसी का कोई लेना देना नहीं है। मौन, समझदारी और हिम्मत रखे। मेरे अच्छे और सच्चे पुत्र और चेला, मेरे आशीर्वाद आप पर है। आगे के लेटर में मास्टर एम कहते हैं, अभिवादन मेरे शिष्य। ऑलकॉट ने मेरे कहने पर शिष्यत्व के सिद्धांतों को समझाया है। यह एक शिक्षणात्मक और परीक्षणाधीन चरण है, और एक चेला ही यह तय कर सकता है कि इस काल के उपरांत वह एक सिद्धहस्त बनेगा या नाकामयाब होगा, असफल होगा। हमारी प्रणाली के बारे में गलत धारणा की वजह से अक्सर अनेक चेला आदेशों का इंतजार करते रहते, राह देखते रहते हैं, जिससे वे अपना वह अमूल्य समय गंवाते हैं जिसे वे स्वयं कोशिश में लगाते। यह बातें आपके सवालों से पता चलती है। आप अपनी सेवा प्रदान करते हैं, ठीक है। आप हमारे मकसद, ध्येय हेतु अपना समय समर्पित करने, खर्च उठाने, जोखिम उठाने के लिए तैयार है। बेशक यह मानव जाति के विकास, सच्चा धर्म, विद्या, प्रबुद्धता और आध्यात्मिक उन्नति का ध्येय है। इसके लिए हमें प्रचारक, समर्पित कार्यकर्ता, एजेंट्स और शायद स्वयं का बलिदान करने वालों की भी जरूरत होती है। लेकिन यह किसी को भी ऐसा बनने की मांग नहीं करता। यदि वे ऐसा बनना चाहते हैं, तब ठीक है। यह दुनिया के लिए और उसके स्वयं के लिए भला होगा, क्योंकि मानव जाति के लिए कार्य करना यह महत् कार्य है। इसका फल जीवन के इस छोटे से सपने से आगे बढ़कर अगले जन्मों तक मिलता है। सो अब मेरे चेला, अपनी किस्मत का स्वयं चुनाव करे और दृढ़ रहे। आप बीमार लोगों को स्वस्थ करना चाहते हो तो करे, लेकिन यह याद रखे कि आपकी सफलता हम पर के विश्वास से ज्यादा आपके स्वयं पर के विश्वास से मापी जाएगी। एक पल के लिए भी इसे गवाएंगे, तब असफलता आपके पीछे आएगी। मैं मौर्य जूनियर यानी ऑलकॉट से तुम्हें लोगों को स्वस्थ करने की कला सिखाने के लिए कहूंगा। आप अपनी आत्मशक्ति पर विश्वास रखें और आप सफल होंगे। आप 2 वर्ष के लिए छुट्टी लेना चाहते हो, आपके संपूर्ण खर्च तय करके ही यह फैसला लें, और तथागत भगवान बुद्ध के शिक्षण की स्मृति से आपको सही फैसला लेने में मदद हो। लेकिन दक्षिण में प्रस्थान करने से पूर्व मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप सीनेट के कार्य के सिलसिले में यानी फोनिक्स वृत्तपत्र के सिलसिले में, जिसे ऑलकॉट आपको समझाएंगे, आप बनारस के महाराजा से भेंट करें। अगर आप खुद के बल पर कार्य करने के लिए स्वतंत्र होते, तब आप निस्संदेह सोसाइटी को आर्थिक मदद करने के अलावा भी कई मामलों में अच्छे तरीके से और भी अच्छा कार्य कर सकते थे। लेकिन यह विचार योग्य और न्यायोचित है, और आपने इसे चुनकर सही किया। कर्म का सिद्धांत अंधा नहीं होता। किसी राजपुत्र के बारे में आपकी शंका सही नहीं है, ऐसा मैं नहीं कहूंगा, लेकिन इस राज को मैं बता नहीं सकता। इसे आप समझदारी से काम में ले और अपनी अंतःप्रज्ञा से कार्य करें। टिनी वैली में ऐसे 2 लोग हैं जो इस राज को जानते हैं। उन्हें खोजे। जहां तक हमारी ओर से आपकी सिद्धियों को बढ़ाने की बात है, तो वह समय के चलते आएगी और इतने जल्द नहीं आ सकती। हमें इन्हें जबरन बढ़ाने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है, और प्रकृति के साथ जबरदस्ती करने से कोई अच्छा नतीजा नहीं होगा। वह पहले ही आप पर बहुत कृपालु है। मेरे पुत्र, मेरे आशीर्वाद आपके साथ है। आगे मास्टर कहते हैं कि आप साथ में दिया हुआ संदेश उसके पते पर भेज दे और साथ में यह लिखे कि आप कौन हैं और यह भी लिखे कि आप मेरे द्वारा चुने गए चेला हो। उपासिका बता देगी। आगे के पत्र में मास्टर एम कहते हैं, आप सही है। बिना किसी इनाम पाने की उम्मीद के अपना कर्तव्य पालन करना, अपना कार्य पैसों के बदले करने से ज्यादा अच्छा है। मेरे मित्र, आप तरुण हैं और आपके कई साल बाकी है। आपने बिना किसी स्वार्थ के निस्वार्थता से अपने देश और महत कार्य के लिए लाभकारी कार्य किया है। हम आपके आभारी हैं। अब आप घर लौट जाए और जो भी परेशानी आपको सताती हो, यह याद रखें कि मैं आपके साथ हूँ। थैंक यू। नमस्ते।
Thank you, Meenakshi ji. And now we open up for any questions or additions. Uh, I do have one question, Vibha ji.
Yes.
So my question is that in the letters 49 and 50, both the letters, the master is telling that tell everybody about us. But this generally, I notice that nowadays that is not the policy. We don't talk about the masters so much.
Yes.
Don't you think? And
It
what?
is right.
Hmm. What do you think? I mean, are we going wrong in not talking about them? Do you think that we should talk more about them?
See why there was this change in attitude. What I feel is that in the early days of the Theosophical movement, the people or the members, they were not ready to believe that these teachings are coming from someone higher up, someone who's more spiritually elevated than the normal mankind. Okay, they thought that HPB is making it up. The masters are a figment of her imagination, and she is writing the letters herself. There was a great hue and cry over this. So it
Hmm.
had to be proven that these teachings are timeless and they are coming from spiritually elevated mm, people who were like men only, who were men earlier, but who have perfected themselves. Okay, so they wanted to make that could be the reason perhaps why they wanted to make themselves be known. But bound by their rules, they could not come down into the public and show themselves.
Hmm.
Also, they were not in favor of showing phenomena, occult magic. Okay, they were not in favor of that. So they needed people who believed in them to convince the public that they are a reality. But now, as time has gone by, and people, most of the people, the Theosophical Society members, and even others, they know very well that yes, uh, perfected men do exist, adepts, Siddha Purush, they do exist. So now, what is more important? It is not important to find how to meet them. It is more important that you transform your own inner self. You work for the mission of the Theosophical Society. So that is more important. Even Mahatma KH has mentioned in one of the letters to AP Senate, he says that you work for the Theosophical movement and be faithful to that rather than to my own poor self. So
Ah.
something to this effect he has mentioned. Instead
Hmm.
of hankering or running after me, trying to meet me, you do this work.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
think that is where a shift in this outlook has come.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I think Sharma ji was saying something. Yes, sir. You can say your question now. Sharma ji. Okay. Is there anybody else with anything? Shinde ji is here. There's a beautiful term here, soul power. So
Mm.
fascinating,
Mm.
fascinating. That
Yes.
Shinde ji, would you like to add anything?
No, Vibhaji has explained very well. One more thing I add, why we won't speak about the masters. The esoteric part of it, when we send thoughts or when we think or meditate on the master, we establish a link with them. And if we go on talking about the masters, in a person who is not believing in the masters and convincing him that the masters are existing, then that atmosphere is not suitable for the masters to create a link. On the other hand, it is very difficult for them to come at the level of the human being. And it is very troubling, we are troubling them. So if you can really try to raise yourself uh, to see the sorrow behind smile of people, just feeling it. Some people they smile, but the sorrow is hidden within. If you are able to see the sorrow behind the smile, or a love behind the anger and reason behind the silence, see, these are the very, very subtle things to read the human mind. And that is why we must not bring them in this low level. J. Krishnamurti said, you are not believing in the masters, you have made a concept of master. And therefore, you want to discuss on the masters, argue on the masters. Like this is also a reason. So once, and one more thing, I will add Vimalji here. This letter is very good. Vibhaji has explained very well, especially what appealed to me. Masters are always helping us, whether you ask or you don't ask. If you are honestly doing your work, they are behind you. And here I remind a fish said to water, you can't see my tears because I am in you. Like this, we are in him, and we think that we don't, the masters won't recognize our sorrow. So when fish said to water, you can't see my tears because I am in you. And you know what the water replied? Water replied, but because you are in me, I can feel your tears. And here, feeling is important. And masters, they definitely feel what you are feeling. This is what the esoteric part of it. So we don't discuss much about the masters. Even nowadays, masters' photos are put on the Facebook, etc. Of course, the last time Vibhaji said they don't have any that kind of magnetism. Uh, but it is not good to play with it with the AI also. The masters ask to move their eyes, move their face. This is not good what we are playing with. It is like playing with God. So this is what I want to add. Vivaji, thank you for this explanation also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shindeji, actually, this reminds me of the 1901 letter written to Annie Besant, in which Master K.H. says the cant of the masters must stop. He tells her that. I think that is the thing. That gives us an indication that, yeah, whatever has been said is correct. So I think with this we'll end, and there isn't anything else. So we'll end the session. Thank you so much, Vibhaji. Beautiful explanation.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to the next one, the completion of this set of letters.
Sure.
Okay. Asato ma satgame, tamaso ma jyotirgam, mrityor ma amritam gam. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu nirame, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukbhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti.